Amy of Amy Nicole Floral, and on today's episode I want to show you a very simple wreath concept that could be used as a centerpiece, it could be hung on your door. Wreaths are so much fun, and I think they're so easy to make that really this is a project anybody could do. So I'm starting with a grapevine wreath that could be used at, or it could be found at any kind of craft store or floral wholesaler, and they're really pretty much under $10, so they're very inexpensive to use. And then I'm going to be using two different types of Chilean fern, and I'll be listing this type of fern down in the comment section. So what I'm going to be doing is just simply showing you how I would make a wreath covered in fern. And I think that you could use this all year around, depending on what the season was. If you were doing something for fall, you could easily do this with fall branches. You could easily do this in winter with winter branches like evergreen. And this branch is, or this wreath is really made of fern, and I think it'd be beautiful all year around. So I want to show you my technique. These ferns that I'm using, do you see how wide they are? So what I'm doing, instead of just taking them and shoving them in, which is my technique here, is shoving them into the grapevine wreath. You could also use some bind wire, and I'll show you that in a minute, but what I'm doing is I'm cutting this down, and I'm taking these two branches, and I'm actually bringing them on top of each other. And that creates such a prettier line here, instead of just this big giant flat fern. So much, again, and I've said this in so many videos, so much of our work as floral designers is really understanding how to manipulate materials to achieve a certain look. And I think that the stronger you get in knowing what your materials can do, it just makes you a much stronger designer. Now, I'm going to just go all the way around here, and I know a common question will be, well, there's just no water source, Amy. How in the world is that going to stay alive? Well, I think about wreaths a lot like I think about corsages or boutonnieres. These are things that are not meant to live forever. Now, I do want to use ingredients that are a little bit hardier. Obviously, I don't want to send out a $200 wreath to a customer and it only lasts for 12 hours. So there's lots of different types of materials that you could use. These ferns actually hold up really beautifully, and there's some more inexpensive types of fern, like leather fern, that's really common, that would work really beautifully as well. So anything that's hardy out of water, I just sort of preferred the look of this fern. It felt a little bit more delicate and interesting and feminine. Now again, I'm kind of just working my way around here, and you can see that I'm getting just really beautiful coverage already. I put in about 6-8 stems, and I'm already halfway there. Now I do like to go in on the inside of wreaths as well as on the outside. What I never want to see is my mechanics. And this, you could argue, well, the wreath is sort of part of the beauty of it. To me, I'm really using it, though, as the mechanic. I'm not using it as part of the design. So whenever there's a mechanic that's really just for holding the important stems in, then I always want to make sure that it's mostly covered. It's not going to be completely covered up here, but it is going to be mostly covered. So again, I'm just layering things on top of each other, and you can see here you still have a lot more coverage to go. So I would go back in with the same fern and just keep layering this in. Now, you can spray these in all kinds of different floral sealants. There is pine spray for the winter. I'll do a YouTube video as we get a little closer to the holidays about that as well. And that really helps preserve the greenery. It's called an anti-transference, so it's allowing the greenery to maintain its moisture and not basically perspire and lose its moisture. So another way that you could secure these greens is by using something called bind wire. Now this is a product by Oasis, and this is a piece of thin wire wrapped in brown or green paper. And you could simply take several pieces of your floral material and lay them on top of the wreath, and then wrap the wire around tying it underneath and securing it that way. Well, to me, that's fine, but it is an extra step. It's extra material. Now, if I was going to be giving this to a client and I really wanted to make sure that nothing would move, I may do that because, of course, for my clients, I'm going to be really particular about making sure that everything is done to the highest quality and standard that it can be done, because I want their items to live as long as possible and to hold together as well as possible. You never know how people treat things once they leave your studio or shop, and so it's really important, I think, to kind of overdo it on the mechanics. But for the sake of just showing you my mechanics, here we have, that really took about under 5 minutes. I would go back in and really flesh this out, but what I thought was interesting is to use the hardier fern on the top, and then to take this softer fern and lay it, or excuse me, use a hardier fern underneath, and then take this much airier fern and layer it over the top. This is going to create beautiful depth and height. There are so many different ways to make wreaths. They are one of my favorite parts of the holidays. They're one of my favorite things just to make in general because the options are endless. You can do something really interesting and asymmetrical. You can do something really classic. You can do a Della Robbia style with fruit. It's absolutely endless, and you really don't have to spend a lot of money. You can really look out into your yard. You can, if you shop at a wholesaler, you can experiment with a new type of greenery, and I find that they just make people really happy. I know they make me so happy. So I'm just floating a few more of these pieces in over the top. I can go really dramatic too. This is a fairly traditional round shape, but I can start bringing pieces way out and just add some really strong asymmetrical interest here. But you can see how easy this was. I'm literally just pushing them in. And again, you can experiment with longevity, you can spray these things, see how long they'll last, but I think that this would make a wonderful hostess gift. I certainly would love to receive this. Yeah, I think we'll call that done. One more over here. But you can see that the second layering of fern really brought this movement and airiness to it that I think is distinctive about my own work, and something I get really excited about in a lot of designs is when you really feel movement and looseness. So here's a quick and easy all fern wreath, and I hope this inspired you to give something like this a try. So thanks so much for watching. Make sure to like the video and of course subscribe to not miss out on any of this flower fun. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.